AI isn't coming, it's here, and it's really changing everything. It changes the way we work, think, create, connect. I'm Jason Kuczek, and I'll help you cut through the noise of AI hype so you can find out for yourself how you can use AI tools in your day to day life. Whether you're a complete newcomer or a seasoned pro, AI can unlock something extraordinary for you or your business, and I'm going to help you. Welcome back to Emergent Thoughts and AI. Last episode, we did some vibe coding. I really hope you joined in on the examples and feel more powerful now than you did before. If you didn't do the examples, I really recommend you jump back and get hands-on. There's just no substitute for using these tools firsthand. This week, the format's going to be a little bit different. Instead of one main segment, I'm going to do a 6-question Q&A, breaking down questions that I've gotten from many of you and then answering them in kind of bite-sized mini segments. As always, I'll focus on real-world examples that you can try for yourself. The list of questions I'll cover today is in the show notes if you want to jump around. One last point before we get started. Usually I stay away from discussing specific tools in detail. That isn't really going to work for today's episode. But just know that I'm not trying to sell you on any particular tools, and I don't get endorsement money from any of the providers I'm going to talk about. I do think some tools are better than others, and that some tools are better for certain types of work, but everything I say in this podcast is based on my own experience and my own judgment. Okay, let's dive in. Question 1. I keep hearing about chatbots like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. What exactly are they? How do I find them? And how do I use them? All right, this is a great question. These chatbots are a basic way to ask an AI a question and get back some type of response. You can find them with a simple Google search, and all three of these examples offer a free version you can use right away. So chatgpt.com, gemini.google.com, or claude.ai. So AI chatbots make it possible for any user to start working with an AI model without having to do anything technical. Think of these as pre-built AI tools that have powerful capabilities without any complex setup or installation. We'll talk about the difference between an AI model and a chatbot next. But all of these chatbots include the same basic features. So there'll be some type of chat window where you can type in your question. There'll be some type of model picker where you can choose which version of the AI you want to work with, and some kind of submit key. So depending on whether you're using the free or paid version, and depending on the model you choose, there might be some other options and buttons in the window as well. But let's ignore all of this for now and just stick to the basics. All right, so you pick a model, you type in your question, you hit enter or submit, and then you just wait for the response. Bigger questions take more time, so the bigger your question, the more patience you're going to need. It's still all pretty fast. So for my example, I'm going to start with ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask it, help me write a letter to a new client welcoming them to Emergent Intelligence. I hit enter and wait a few moments, and I can see the results right away. Now remember, you can ask follow-up questions if you want. The chatbot will remember what you've asked and what it's responded if you stay in the same conversation, which is just a way of saying within the same connected chain of chat messages. So if you start a new chat, the basic chatbots will refresh and will not remember your past questions. All right, that's it. So ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude are all just simple ways to interact with AI models without any installation or setup. All right, question 2. What is the difference between a chatbot like Gemini, Claude, or ChatGPT and an AI model? Are they the same thing? So this is another great question. No, chatbots and AI models are not the same thing. Think of the model as the brain in this situation, and when your brain is presented with a question, it thinks it over and then gives you an answer. The same is true with an AI model. The model itself has been trained on a tremendous amount of information, and when presented with a problem or a question, the model does its version of thinking it through and then provides an answer. The chatbot, on the other hand, is more like the face of the model. It's just a way to communicate with the underlying AI model. It can receive your questions in the chat window and can send that question to the brain. When the brain answers, it can show you that answer. This is a little bit of an oversimplification, but ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude are the faces, not really the brains. So these chatbots can do more than just send messages back and forth between the model and the user. Like they can store chat history, they can check responses for accuracy, they can provide citations. So there's a lot they can do around the model, but the model itself is what is processing your prompt. So the takeaway is that generally speaking, the model is the brain and the chatbot is the interface that allows you to work with the brain. All right, question 3. How do I actually get started? What are a few examples of things I can do right now for free? All right, this is a really good one. If you've already listened to any of my past episodes, you probably already know some of the things you can do right now for free to supercharge yourself with AI. But let's step back and get hands-on with a couple of examples. Let's use the free version of ChatGPT. We're going to do 3 different kinds of things that you might find useful in your day-to-day. First, navigate to chatgpt.com. I know that name doesn't really roll off the tongue. I really wish OpenAI was better at naming things, but what are you going to do? So let's start just by asking a direct question. I'm going to use the prompt, what is the largest whale on Earth? When you provide a direct question, you should get back a direct answer. I did, as you can see in this example. Next, we'll get a little bit creative by asking ChatGPT to help us write something original. My prompt will be, write me a short poem about dogs. Now, there's a lot of debate about AI creative work, and I don't really want to wade into that controversy. You can use AI to make some pretty bad and unreadable content. There's already a lot of it out there. You can also learn to use it to make some pretty good content. It just takes practice. Either way, if you're starting out and feeling stuck, AI can really provide you with an immediate boost by giving you a starting point you can work with. So even if you hate the poem that ChatGPT gives you back, maybe it has some kind of nugget of value in it that can inspire you to write something on top of it that you really do like. So our last simple example will be using ChatGPT to solve a quick practical need. This can be a lot of things. Give me a list of names. Give me a draft of an email to my boss. You get the idea. But for my example, I'm going to use, write me a quick recipe for dinner tonight. I have chicken, tomatoes, carrots, and rice, and the usual kitchen basics that I can use. All right, look at my response. I got back a recipe that looks really great and is customized to fit the ingredients I told it I have. Some models don't even need you to tell them what you have. You can just take a picture of what's inside your refrigerator, and the model can figure out what you have and make up a recipe for you. It's pretty amazing. So one quick note before we go on. Remember, all of the major chatbots can manage follow-up questions or follow-up prompts. So if you don't like the answer you get back, or if you have more questions, you can just ask a follow-up prompt. Make my email longer. Make my email shorter. Give me 10 more names like the first ones. Change my recipe to be gluten-free. So one of the AI superpowers is its ability to adapt based on your specific feedback. So use it. So you get started with AI by using it for simple, practical tasks that will help you see what it can do. Question 4. I need to understand a long article and I don't have time to read it. Another variation of this is that I want to understand a long article and it's filled with a lot of jargon I don't know. How can I use AI to pull the information I need out of the article? So this one is super useful. In fact, I use some form of it every day. Before we look at an example, here are 2 things to understand right away. First, AI is actually really good at understanding even very large documents. This didn't used to be the case. Second, AI is also very good at adapting the information in a document to a different audience. So you can say something like, this is an article about physics. Summarize it for me. Or you can say, summarize it for me and explain it to me as if I were a student, not a physicist. So for my example, I'm going to use Google's Gemini, again, the free version, and I'm going to give it an online article about Einstein's theory of relativity. I'm going to navigate to Gemini and then just copy part of the article and paste it into the chat. So one thing about free versions is that you may hit limits to the size of article you can paste in. If you hit a limit like this, just copy a smaller part of the article for the example. This is where paid versions do make a difference because generally paid versions of these chatbots can handle more information at one time. So I'm going to paste in a section of the article about something called time dilation. This is not something I already understand. Now I need to tell Gemini what I want it to do. If I don't give it any instructions, it may kind of take a guess at what I want, but in my experience, you get way better results if you give a specific request. So my instructions will be, summarize this article and explain it to me in a way that a non-scientist would understand. Use simple but specific examples to help me get it. Please make the explanation short. Now, it doesn't matter if you put your instructions at the beginning or the end of your text you pasted in. The chatbot will be able to sort it out. I got back an explanation that sums up the entire article in 2 sentences and then gives a little example. The takeaway is that you can use a brief prompt and copy and paste an article to get back a short explanation that can teach you the concepts even if the article is over your head. Question 5. What do people mean when they talk about AI prompts? What is prompt engineering? Should I care about it? There's a lot to unpack here, but it actually breaks down pretty easily. First, A prompt is just a message that you send an AI to get a response from it. That's it. The better your question or prompt, the better your AI response is likely to be. So prompt engineering is just a fancy way of talking about how you write when you chat with an AI chatbot. The takeaway is that if you learn to ask good questions, you'll be happier with the results. And put another way, if you learn to write good prompts, your AI will be better at solving your specific problems. So everyone can be a prompt engineer with a little bit of practice. I'm going to give you a few guidelines, some things that'll make your prompts more effective from the get-go. First, get good at knowing what you want. Okay, think a little bit about what you want before you ask your question. Second, you can give the chatbot any information you think it needs. This is called building context. If you have an example you want it to follow, give it a copy of that example. You can also tell it what you don't want. So this will help make sure you actually like the results by ruling out things you know that you don't want it to tell you. You can tell it the target audience. Explain this to me like I'm a PhD student versus explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old child. So you can really tailor the output to the audience you're going for. Okay, now let me give you the cheat code. Chatbots can actually write really good prompts. They're also very good at understanding what you're trying to accomplish. This means that if you don't know exactly how to write a good prompt, you can actually tell the chatbot what you're trying to accomplish and ask it to write its own prompt. This is similar to my episode about vibe coding, where you code by telling the agent what you're trying to accomplish instead of giving it a list of specific tasks. Just know that the more you use these tools yourself, the better you'll get at prompting. Some systems, like AI agent platforms, do all of the prompting for you. All right, question 6. Privacy matters to me. Is the information I put in one of these chatbots sent anywhere or used in any way I might not want? Okay, this is a great question, and the answer has really changed a lot in the last year. First things first, don't put anything in a free online chatbot that is sensitive or private. You should assume that any information you share in these publicly available free tier chatbots is at least stored by the chatbot provider, if not used to help train their future models. So the takeaway, no trade secrets or bank account numbers in these free models. So this is actually a really common concern, and the AI community has addressed it in two main ways. First, the big chatbot providers like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude know that this is a major concern for most users. For this reason, they all offer some type of paid plan that comes with assurances that they will not train on your data. That said, because they can remember information about you over time and show you your chat history, they do have to store your information, and they are vulnerable to hacking threats and other data leaks. So many people view this risk as something that you just have to assume if you want to use the most powerful AI models. And there's also some question on whether or not you can independently verify that they're not using your data in a way that they shouldn't. Unfortunately, in most situations, you just have to take their word for it that they're being good stewards of your information. There is an alternative for more privacy-focused users. With the correct tool choice, you can run AI models and chatbots locally. This means that the chatbot and the model are both installed on your computer, and if they're from a reputable provider that emphasizes privacy, your data is never sent anywhere and is only ever stored on your own computer. You still have the same security concerns as any computer user, but you don't have to worry about your information getting intercepted in transit, and you don't have to worry about how OpenAI or Google might be using your data. Now, there is a trade-off. Local AI models are not as large or as powerful as the largest frontier models, and they take longer to execute their prompts. That said, if you experiment with a decent local model, you'll probably find that for 99% of the tasks you need AI help with, these local models are more than capable. You don't always need a Ferrari. Because most of the focus in the industry has been getting users for the biggest online platforms, there are just fewer choices for local chatbots and models, but they are out there and they're getting very good. Okay, that's it for our first listener Q&A episode. We took a quick look at the most common chatbots and how to use them. We talked about the difference between an AI chatbot and an AI model. We talked about the easiest way to get started using AI tools that are available for free right now. We talked about how to use AI to weed through complex articles and concepts, and how to adapt information to fit your audience. We answered the questions, what are prompts and what is prompt engineering? And finally, we talked about chatbot privacy and the difference between cloud-based AI and local AI. If you love this episode, and especially if it left you feeling inspired, please subscribe and check out our other episodes and our content on our YouTube channel. If you want to connect or ask any questions, please leave a comment or reach out directly. Please do also share this episode with anyone you think might love it. It really helps. The future isn't just happening to us, we're shaping it. Let's explore and understand it together.